And Stephen A. Smith joins me here on SportsCenter. Stephen A., it's been 7 years since they brought in Steve Mills to be GM, and now he is out. What happened? Why now?
Steve Stout. That's what happened. He's a music mogul, friends with P. Diddy, Jay-Z, and others, and an individual hired by James Dolan about a month ago to repair James Dolan's image because you've got people booing the Knicks profusely and begging for James Dolan to sell the team while he's in attendance for the Knicks games. He heard those noise reverberating or descending from the rafters and everywhere else from Madison Square Garden. It annoyed him to no end. He hired somebody to help repair his image, and that individual, which is Steve Stout, was repeatedly told, according to my sources, that the coexistence of Steve Mills with James Dolan just doesn't work. Since 2003, the record is 522 and 825. That's a 38% winning percentage, second worst in the entire NBA, only to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Only 3 appearances in the playoffs in the last 16 years. It's been absolutely atrocious. And again, Stout was told Mills and Dolan together don't work, and Dolan's not going to fire himself. So somebody had to go. That's simple.
But it's never simple with the Knicks, Stephen A. It seems like no matter what they choose, it's going to take a long time. Where do they go from here?
Well, let me tell you something right now. You've got notable names, people bringing up names like Jeff Van Gundy or whatever. I'm not buying that. I don't see that happening. I think Mark Jackson needs to keep his phone on because he could get a call. In terms of executives for the New York Knicks, while Perry is running on an interim basis for the presidency, here's Scott Perry. Here's the reality of the situation. You're going to hear names like Lynn Merritt from Nike because of his relationship with a multitude of players and how he's expected to retire in short order in the very near future. You're going to hear other names like Masai Ujiri, but you ain't getting him out of his contract in Toronto, in my opinion. The name I would ask you to keep your eyes on is Kenny Smith of TNT. This is an individual that his name has been mentioned before as an executive. He would love to be an executive for the New York Knicks running basketball operations. He's from Archbishop Malloy, right there in Queens, New York. He's got New York roots. When he speaks about basketball, you're going to listen. The likelihood is that somebody like him would hire Mark Jackson, who everybody here in New York City is clamoring for, myself included. Why, Sage? Because remember I said this, and I've said this on many occasions. The New York Knicks don't just need a coach. They need a voice because nobody wants to hear from Dolan because you don't trust him. Steve Mills is relatively quiet and timid to such a degree in terms of speaking. You need somebody that's going to speak to the media, that's going to speak to New Yorkers, and when they open their mouth, every damn body listens. That's Mark Jackson. That's Kenny Smith. Keep your eyes on Kenny Smith.
Okay.
He wants to be an executive. Mark Jackson wants to be a coach. It's right there for everybody to see. It's just a matter of whether or not James Dolan is going to do it.
It's been 7 years since this team made the playoffs, 50 since they won their last championships.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.